All right, Chris Campbell back in the clock shop tonight. Now we have added the hands to the movement. So we have our hour hand here, we have our minute hand here, and our second hands here. And as you can see, the second hand is ticking away with the beat of the escapement. Now what we're doing is our fine adjustments and our tuning to be sure that the clock runs accurately without any pulse or stops. And we're also checking for accuracy on the timing so that we can make minor adjustments on the hour part. Because sometimes they may run a little slow or a little fast, and this particular clock actually has the adjustment right here. I'm going to point it right here. This little bar here is the adjustment. All right. So you can actually see the escapement and the second hand here ticking. Tick, tock, tick, tock. It's in perfect beat. All right, this was a very hard clock. From Friday night to yesterday or Saturday night, we were working on cutting these gears from 6 p.m. Friday night till 3 a.m. Saturday morning. And again, Saturday evening from about 5 p.m. until 3:30 Sunday morning. And here we are, Sunday evening at almost 9:52 p.m. So that goes to show you exactly how many hours we have already put into cutting 3 new gears for this particular clock. But it's worth it because now the second hand, this clock is back up ticking and it's running stronger than ever. To show you exactly how old this clock is older than our Declaration of Independence. This clock was actually manufactured in August of 1770. So that shows you exactly just how old this massive clock is. This is a French clock. It's a skeleton style clock, as you can see here. I've done some research on this particular clock, and at auction, a grandfather clock of this size, if you could see the case that this came out of, you would be amazed, because the case itself stands 8 feet tall. It's a massive case, and beautiful mahogany. It's got birch, it's got hardwood, it's got all the designs in the case. It's also got stained glass in the front bezel of the glass and the door. I actually saw one of these clocks go up for auction for over 20 grand. And here we have the movement from this exact same type style clock. This is what they call a colonial period grandfather clock. I was also doing some more research on this particular clock. And the maker is a guy named Franz Harari. He was from Paris, France, and he started his clock company with him and his father, Harago. Now, Harago was basically doing watches and small mantle clocks, but Franz Harari and Harago teamed up, and they started making grandfather clocks. And as a result, they made one of these. This was called the Colonial Type 1 grandfather clock. It was a skeleton clock. Back then, they did not do strike movements. They only did time movements, from what I have read. But this is a beautiful, beautiful example of history. Everything is from the exact same period. The only thing that we have changed, and it should not affect the value, it actually should enhance it, it's the 3 gears that we had to cut. The main wheel gear, the second gear, and the intermediate gear that we had to cut and manufacture. Everything else should be precisely perfect. But yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful piece of history. This actually needs to be put into a museum, because this is a very hard clock to come across and find. The only other clock that I have ever had a hard time finding or even coming into the shop was called the death clock. And it's another French clock. It's a gold clock that was made with mercury, lead. But yeah, that's a whole other story. But this one is by far one of the holy grails of grandfather clocks. And just looking at that pendulum. Oh man, and listen to the tick. Oh man, that's beautiful. All right. So we're going to go ahead and sign off tonight. We're going to let this run for about a week before we let the customer know. But this is a very expensive movement that we had to make. This is about $800 worth of work that we have done, making the gears, doing the polishing of all the pivots, cleaning them. He did not want everything to be polished. I can understand because that can remove the value, but everything else is to the period and to the patina that it once had. So yeah, this is all original. Very, very beautiful. All right, so if you need any antique clock or watch repair, come see us today. We are the state's largest antique clock and watch maker. Campbell's Antique Clock and Watch Repair of Anderson, South Carolina. Have a wonderful evening.